Good morning. There is the pom-pom attached to the end of a great male lion. This, everybody. Right, everybody? Well, that's a good start, isn't it? And four more in front of us, walking down the road. Byron is the other vehicle out so far, and Taylor will shortly be on walk. Senzor is on camera today. That is Senzor's, well, very elegant thumb. You are most welcome. You're the most important of what we do. And the most important thing that you can do this morning is to send us questions and comments. Hashtag Safari Live is how you do that. That's on Twitter. If you don't know how Twitter operates, I'm very sorry, but it's very easy to figure out. And I'm sure if you've got this far in your social media existence, you'll get that far too. So hashtag Safari Live. There he is. He's marking territory now. Chris Animal Mobile down Philemon's dip at the moment. There we go. What a wonderful start to the day. I'd had fears of it being another day of flowers, grasses and trees. Especially when we heard him calling as we got into camp this morning. And the reason I say that, of course, is because so often we hear them calling at night and then we come out in the morning and they've crossed south or north. So we'll follow him for as long as we can. He's been shouting his head off, beautifully calling. And now all he's doing is marking his territory without sound, but with scent. He's calling now. And you can't believe the distance that they can cover, walking at that sort of what looks like a gentle loping sort of stroll. But they will cross, if he carries on in this direction, he'll cross over the boundary in less than 10 minutes. I was rather hoping Wendy would just ease her way down the road, but because there's still a lot of moisture in the soil, there's quite a lot of mud. There's been a lot of activity on this road during the night, and he has actually come, he lay down here and scraped earlier today. It's almost like he's come up. Now he's turned around and gone back down the same route that he's come up, or that he came up earlier on. Yeah. He's now, of course, relieving himself, which will result in the world's foulest smell assailing our nostrils fairly soon. It's about, I believe, around about 20 degrees or so. I've forgotten the temperature exactly, but it's about 20 degrees Celsius as far as I remember, which puts us at about 69 degrees Fahrenheit. Sorry, 65 and 19. Yeah, Rebecca, you're right, I agree. You say that his belly looks kind of full and you wonder what he ate. I have no idea, but I would agree with you completely that he did eat something. His belly does look full. What can you smell, old fellow? And if you are maybe a new viewer and you've just come across this stream, this is a member of the Birmingham Boys. They are the dominant male coalition of lions of this area. They dominate two prides, the Sticks and the Nkuhumas, both of which have been conspicuous by their absence on account of the fact that their sort of dominant prey animal, the buffalo, has been away from this area during the course of the rainy season. And so we're expecting much more activity from them in the not too distant future. I'm just looking at the ground because it looks to me like a male leopard went up the road. And this lion is about 4 feet at the shoulder, so he's tall. He's not filled out quite to the extent that he's going to. He's going to get bigger. He'll probably be, he probably won't get any taller, but when he finally attains his full mass in maybe 2 years' time, close to 180 kilograms, which is about 400 pounds. And he's got a small sniffle. he just gave us a little bit of a look there. Now, Bonnie, you're in Australia, and you're wondering if lions have different calls. I'm assuming you mean from each other. And absolutely they do, Bonnie. They are recognizable to each other. Their individual calls are recognizable to each other. And certainly, they've done experiments where they will play the calls of certain lions to other lions, and they react totally differently to unfamiliar lions from the way that they would react to lions they're familiar with. So yes, they do recognize each other's calls and the calls of strangers. And of course he's hearing a whole suite of things that we are not picking up on. He has much more sensitive ears than our human ears, and I think he's listening probably for his coalition mates. Now, I'm going to avoid bashing in after him. We're going to try and pick him up the other side of this block, because we haven't really had a good look at him from the front. So while we do that, Baron is driving down over there. He's going to be very upset, of course, because he too was looking for the lion. And now he's on Ingwe Alley Road. Sorry, I'm just going to need to get onto the Game Drive radio. Animal is now mobile east along Ingwe Alley Road towards the Pans. I think he will cross the drainage there onto Twin Dams. You hear the Franklins shouting at him. Depends where you are, Chris. If you're on Philemon's Dip now, come straight onto Ingwe Alley, and then you'll catch me there. There we go. Negative, north of the riverbed. It's a sort of skeleton road that was put in between Twin Dams and Philemon's Dip. Sorry, I'm just trying to help with Chris get here on the Game Drive channel, but my attention is now fully with you. And the lion, he's marking his territory frantically. Where he found all that water to drink, I don't know. Clearly he's got reserves. And as the Franklins are alarm calling to the right-hand side, so are the rattling testiculars going to the left. It's almost a little bit like a sort of a fanfare, if you like, as the royalty of the wilderness comes wandering past. There he is there, maybe going to have a little drinky, or probably just bypass the Pans, actually. There he goes. And I think what he's going to do is probably head straight across, down through the drainage line and onto Twin Dams Road. I think Chris has managed to pick him up there. We're just going to try and get into a position where we can see him. There we go. That's not his best angle. Sorry, everybody. I know that's not the best lion angle you've ever had, and so I think I'm going to try and find a better position than this very unceremonious yoga pose. Let's head across to Taylor and say good morning to her. Across the drainage line, and then he turned back sort of towards the west, which was unusual. He was calling here, that's how we found him again, and here he is. Actually, we saw a kudu running for its life as well, which obviously the lion wasn't particularly interested in. The kudu went off in here, didn't even bother to alarm call, and then Mfumo started making his call. I'm very good at doing a lion call. Here it goes. Are you ready? It goes like this. Good, eh? Yeah. Okay, let's go back to the lion. Sounds exactly like that. If you've never heard a lion call, that's what it sounds like. It obviously doesn't sound anything like that. But we'll wait for him to demonstrate it. Ahmed, you're wondering what... if I had an alarm call, what would it sound like? I think it would sound like the standard issue human alarm call. It would sound like screaming. Ah! Lion! Ah! Ah! Lion! It would sound something like that. Fresh lion tracks on the road here. And you can see, it's quite interesting there. We've just gone round the puddle. And around the puddle he has gone too. And so his tracks go down the road, and then suddenly if you only see them at the puddle, they're facing that way because he's wanting desperately not to get mud in between his toes. And so if you just came across those tracks and you hadn't seen the ones fore or aft, you'd think he'd headed off in there, and you'd probably wander off and spend ages looking around there. Go, Mike. Mike, I told you that you need to come to Weaver's Nest. Weaver's Nest. So he's heading straight south. Let me just turn the car off a bit, because I'm really hoping he's going to call again before he disappears to the south of us. Now, Sandy, a very good one from you about how long the scent lasts when animals mark their territory. Well, I can't smell his, so I don't know. But it lasts a while. They can pick it up on the bushes, probably for weeks after it's been laid there, as long as there's no rain. Now, obviously, we've had quite a lot of rain of late, and that means their scent has been washed off. And so they often will patrol again, like he's doing now. We're just going to let Chris go in front, because he hasn't had much of a sighting. And then we'll follow behind him. Chris is guiding out of Djuma at the moment. So if you're wondering what that vehicle is doing, those are people on safari, which of course is what you are doing basically in a virtual way. We will try and catch up with him again, and so we're not behind the vehicle entirely. And as Megan, who is directing us today, says, as we play hopscotch, let's head across to Byron, who is currently apparently trying to escape via the air. So I know this is not going to be the best picture in the world because we've got the vehicle in front of us, but let's just stay with him. He might call, and we don't want to waste too much time linking to and fro between the vehicles. We'll just get around this corner and then we'll get a view of him. I'll see if I can't scoot off road. I can't do it here because unfortunately there are many bushes that the elephants have pushed into the way. It will be the one advantage of the Mara, of course, when we get there, is that there are so few trees there that the elephants cannot lay booby traps with anything like the efficiency that they do it here. Now he's going to head straight south, I think. I don't think he's going to turn north. And yes, absolutely, there is another one calling to the north, but he is clearly not particularly interested in it. Hello, Lael. As we were talking about earlier, you want to know if they're able to recognize each other's calls, or could they get confused? No, it's highly unlikely that they'll get confused. There have been many experiments done where they have played strange lion calls to lions like this, they immediately recognize strangers. So they'll recognize their own calls, the calls of their coalition mates. They'll also recognize almost immediately the calls of the prides in their territory. So they will recognize the call of the Nkuhuma lionesses. Whether they do that down to the individual, I suspect they probably can. And they will also recognize the call of the Styx lionesses. Righty, what we're going to do is now go around him because, you know, as attractive as his bottom is, it's not his best side. So let's just scoot around here and we'll get a nice view. Whoa, hold on everybody. Oh, nice question, Donald. You say, what's the difference between a pride and a coalition? Well, a pride is the females and their youngsters. That is the pride, and contrary to what the Lion King would have you believe, the pride does not have a male in it. The males live in coalitions or on their own. There we go. There we go. They either live in coalitions or they live on their own, and those coalitions will dominate, you know, up to 3 or 4 prides sometimes. And this coalition of 4, the Birmingham Boys, dominates 2 prides. I tell you, it's been so long since I've seen a lion. I've been trying to take photographs of this chap, despite the fact that the light is flat and fairly hopeless for that sort of thing. There he's calling. Nondescript call. Isn't that lovely? He's just looking up at some other safari goers, wondering what they'd taste like. No, he's not really wondering what they'd taste like. Chris, you're wondering if the brothers join up to hunt. No, you know, normally they don't. Normally they join up if there's a fight, but most of the time, you know, Chris, they don't do a huge amount of hunting. They will hunt, but they'll hunt alone. They'll hunt, often it's 2 and 2 together, you know, sort of patrolling the area, and if they have a hunting opportunity, then they will take it. But a male lion is, of course, the greatest scavenger out here. There is nothing more effective at scavenging than a male lion, and so they will steal from other lions, they'll steal from hyenas and wild dogs and leopards. Mostly, of course, they steal from lionesses. So although they're very effective hunters if they want to, they often don't do much hunting at all. Right, we'll get a view of him coming down through here, I hope. Watch out everybody, watch your heads. And of course there's a lot of moisture all on the bushes, so you'll get wet. Hold on. Okay, now be quiet, he's going to come right past us. He's just going to come wandering past us over here, I hope. Sorry, there's a rather nasty bush in the way. Okay, apparently Byron has got something extremely exciting. Let's go to him.